Hello and welcome. Engineering services out of India has a bright future, but delivering it locally and creating the right combination of skills onshore and offshore can be exciting and interesting, and perhaps has a lot of potential in the future. To discuss that, I'm joined by Dr. Ajay Prabhu, Chief Operating Officer of Quest Global, an engineering services company headquartered in Bangalore. Right?
Thank you.
So, we were just talking a little while ago. There is a huge opportunity in engineering services. Indian companies are ramping up, new people are coming into this space, and yet the way you deliver these solutions to companies outside India or wherever they are is also becomes critical, the way you balance your skills and talent. So tell us more about the challenges here.
Yeah. See, there is an important expectation from customer in terms of cost reduction whenever they think about India as Indian engineering service providers. But then at the same time, customers want good quality delivered with no drag on them, okay, which has become a major issue for them, because world as a whole is running out of engineers, especially in the high cost countries where the engineers are aging population and they are retiring, not many new.
And you're saying that, that's interesting. You're saying not enough people are taking up engineering as a discipline.
Yes, not in these high cost countries where the engineering is not such an interesting career option. So in a situation like that, our customers are extremely busy and the pressures are too much on them to provide new type of products for the emerging world. And emerging world, as we know now, is much of the economic activities and growth are happening in countries like India, China, BRIC countries. So the expectation of the product and how good that product has to be and at what cost point it has to work is very different. So there are lots of challenges and a transformation in the way engineering needs to be done, and the customers are really stretched and stressed about it. So whenever an engineering service provider comes, obviously cost is one thing that that is being looked at, but it has become more of a hygiene factor. But then now the customers' expectations are evolving more towards how will you take my pain out of doing this engineering. And towards that, they expect us to have very good capability, expect us to be able to talk to them briefly, understand the problem and go away, solve the problem, come back, rather than being guided by them through the whole process.
So give us an illustration.
So for example, a customer may have a situation where they have just designed one aircraft engine, and the aircraft engine needs to provide certain fuel efficiency. And while the internals of all the engines are done properly, the weight of the engine, the new product, is a little bit too much, and that's why the fuel is getting wasted. Let's say a customer wants to take up a project of weight reduction to kind of eliminate, say, 200 pounds of weight, so that a couple of passengers can sit instead of this engine being taken by the aircraft, right? So a project like that, customer will want to define and say, hey, I want a partner, engineering partner, who can look at every single part which is not in the critical area, and then think of and come up with ways of reducing the weight, redesign these parts. Now, a challenge like that, customer may want to give a one sentence brief saying, hey, we want you to do, but then what it takes is immense amount of knowledge of this product. What can be worked on, what cannot be worked on, how is it efficiently that a program can be run to remove and add value to the customer in a situation like that. And just by having 1,000 fresh engineers from even the best of the colleges in India and locking them up in a big hall with all the computers and everything else, it's not going to happen. You really need to have in that team some of the catalysts, some of the experienced people, some of the people who have done it before. Okay, and such people are available only in these countries where these products have been traditionally made for years and years. So we really go for what we call a local global team, and that is our delivery model. Quest, we have only about 50% of our engineers are actually Indian nationals. Other 50% are all international engineers,
including sitting in Bangalore.
No, they sit in their respective offices, very close to the customer. They have the domain expertise, and they are the ones that really understand the customer's pain, translate that back into an engineering project, and continue to work with the customer, and at the same time work with engineers back in India. Overall, the cost of doing this project comes down significantly because of adding a lot of good engineering talent from India. But at the same time, the capability gap doesn't exist in solving the customer's
problem. So, did you work
problem.
on such a project when you were talking about this aircraft engine and reducing the weight?
Similar briefs we have got.
So, if I get a seat on the next flight, which I was not getting otherwise, I'll know it's because you reduced the weight. Or you worked on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a large project. Lots of people get involved in a project of this nature. But yes, very much so. I mean, those are the kind of contributions being made by engineering service providers.
So, what does this mean for the overall India manufacturing story?
India manufacturing, mainly in the aerospace sector, there is a lot of fillip and boost given to Indian manufacturing through the offset policy. The offset policy requires that any time Indian defense procurement, which is on a rising trend now, 30 to 50% of the content needs to be made in India. So this is really creating a big impetus for Indian manufacturing. So India, as it's been traditionally talked about, unlike China's situation, India has really kind of learned the design and services aspects first, and then now going down the value chain in a way to do manufacturing. So India is in a good position to be able to do manufacturing of some of these, especially in the aerospace sector.
So tell us about this new outcome-based model that you're looking at when it comes to working with clients and giving them, I presume, more value than what it was earlier.
Yeah, this is a good question and a new trend. It is not something that is become very prevalent yet, but we can see the emergence of this. As customers are going from more of a product design phase into more of the manufacturing phase, they are making significant investments in ramping up their own manufacturing facilities to be able to make all these products. So cash is a very difficult thing for our customers as well. So they are always looking at new ways nowadays in terms of how to get the results, be assured of the results before spending or committing cash. So what has traditionally been a time and material type of environment for especially engineering service providers, more and more customers are now talking about a result oriented or a result based payment structure. For example, if a work needs to be done, in the past it used to be about how many engineers does it take and what kind of engineers, and because so many people are involved, what is the amount to be paid. So now the customer is more interested in kind of, okay, if you get this done, this is how much we could pay, which is what is called a fixed price model or a unit price model. When there are repetitive activities, they just pay you by the number of things that are done. And then there is also a performance linked type of a model where, for example, going back to our weight reduction type of a project. So they may say, okay, I'll give you a certain base amount, but then if you exceeded my expectation on the weight reduction, you will get a lot more money. So there is a risk and reward that happens between the two parties. Customer has the flexibility of not having to commit funds. Customer has the flexibility of changing their volumes, and on the service provider side, there is a opportunity for the service provider to get real good at it. And while there might be investment in the beginning phases, but over a longer period of time make disproportionate profits or margins on a business like this. So it has certain risk, but that's the trend that is
and it's also a reflection of the growth and maturity of the industry.
Absolutely, absolutely. One couldn't try to do a risk reward based model without having done things before. A service provider needs to be very cautious about going into it. It's not something that you should jump into it with both your feet at the same time. You really need to tip it over, get the feel for how to do this. And it's very important for service providers to start thinking about how they might try and get into this, because over a period of time, otherwise you have the risk of getting commoditized.
Right. That's interesting. Yeah. So when we say future of engineering or future of manufacturing in India, so would you say areas like this, which seem otherwise niche, will play a bigger role in terms of scale and jobs and so on?
Yeah, the amount that we are talking, especially through the offset, it runs into billions and billions of dollars. So it is going to need significant effort from the industry to really kind of come up and value add that amount of procurement. So it will mean significant increase in the manufacturing jobs as well as design. Okay, so this is a big advantage. Obviously, things move a little bit slow, but over a longer period of next 2 decades, India can expect to be significantly benefited, Indian people.
Right,
through this.
Right. That's a positive note to end on. Thank you very much for speaking with us, Ajay.
All right. Okay. Thank you.